He had an
DM me.
announcement, and now he's gone.
No, he's still
Hello,
here. I
everyone.
just got to keep it a surprise in case she's listening.
Oh,
Who?
oh.
I'll make it quick. I will be shutting down tonight in Hope Hall, Alabama, which is the hometown of new country music superstar Ella Langley. If you guys never hear from me again, just know I made it.
Okay.
So see you tomorrow, Tanky.
Yeah, in all honesty, I'll be mad.
The Kungsarmee and the good people in the Rasalhague Republic. All sorts of good people there. We even have an actual Rasalhague resident with us today.
Yes,
So.
Rasalhague, apparently.
I
don't accept that.
Den Hog. It's hog. It's as in Den Hog.
Well, that's also Hague.
Egg.
It's also spelled
Rasalhague.
Haag.
I mean, if I were to
We
say
aren't
it in
Dutch.
French, it would be Rasalhague because there's SH there.
Well, I mean, I'd go
So.
with it's Swedish, so it'd be Rasalhague. But
Agua.
actually, hell, the G wouldn't even be a G.
Wouldn't it
I
be
think-
more Icelandic, anyways? And Icelandic
the,
is still even weirder. And
That's the Jarnfolk.
oh, true.
I think
Well,
the
Yarn
real
Folk
issue
came from
behind how to
Buffalo.
pronounce it, is that we all just kind of collectively back in the day decided it was Rasalhague just because it made sense to us. And show of hands, how many people knew anyone who spoke Swedish? Probably not a whole lot. So we just went with Rasalhague. And now that the people that we don't like are in charge and are telling us it's pronounced, Rasalhague and misery and stuff like that, we're rejecting it because one, it's what we know, and two, the people who don't like us, we also don't like them. So we're doing it out of spite. Fuck
It's
them.
Tukayid, not Tukayid.
Tukayid.
Tukayid
That's-
lisan al gaib.
that's. I think that is Arabic, so it would be Tukayid.
I am willing to accept Tukayid in the name of the lisan al gaib.
Listen,
I'm
That's
also willing
written.
to accept
The
Arabic.
Mahdi.
Which, if you're listening to this, Carl, I am not giving up the Stefan Muad'Dib Amaris meme. I am not giving it up. I will never give it up.
He's never going to let you down. We're going to run around and desert you.
Bearded Coyote saying, how does Google Translate pronounce it? Oof. It would also depend on which Google Translate you use. Because there
Region
are
one.
What up,
funny
Willie?
things with Google Translate.
Poor
early
Willie, I gave
news.
him I had to give him a wet willy the other night. I unloaded a entire point of clan medium battle armor Rasha. Each suit has 2 one-shot SRM3s into the back of his Fafnir 6U.
Oh, damn.
I didn't know Fafnirs were proofed against autocannon 10s from the rear. This was a shock to me.
Yeah, no, it ain't fast, but it's going to be a beefy boy. You're going to have to work for that kill.
You get behind it, and it's like, god dang, a heavy medium laser strips a location, and I only have so many. Aye. But it was a good game all around. We learned a lot
We
of
had
stuff.
a crazy game last night as well on the
It
channel.
was hilarious.
All sorts we had all the emotions throughout the entire video. It was another thing.
But did you make Crab cry, or did Crab make you cry? Actual tears.
Yes.
I cried
Not
from
actual
laughing.
cheers. We were laughing so much we might have cried a bit though.
I laughed,
then
I
that
cried,
counts.
I shit, I come.
It was
And
Man.
demonetized.
it was one of those games where things just happened and funny things happened.
Oh goodness, I love it. Well, let's
Okay,
get
so
on
to
with the
answer-
news, I suppose.
Dead from
Actually,
Above
answer Bearded
Wargaming.
Coyote.
Dead from Above Wargaming launched their Kickstarter yesterday to finance their 8.5. This was at the start of the year to do it. CGL got after them But we're not sure if it's really CGL or someone saying they were CGL or anything in the middle. And things
Junior
get progressively weirder with this.
contractor.
Junior contractor.
I mean,
Brian
when
Young
the
added a-
boss of the company gets asked, like, did you do that? And he says no, but it was your actual editor, things get very weird. So one thing you will notice if you read through the whole thing, yes, it says CGL approved, but there is not a single mention of Battletech throughout the entire campaign. And even if you go in the FAQ where it says, like, is this really officially approved? Yes. And what IP is included in the Kickstarter? They, the one with Stompy robots. They probably CGL told them you can't use the word Battletech or the name Battletech in your promotion.
your promotional material, unless you're paying
And there's a
us.
Karis. I backed it for, not the max amount because I am not made of money. But I did back them. They're good people in general. So if you have a few dollars to throw their way, a 20, a 10 or 20 to just throw their way might not be a good, thing. Might not be a bad thing. Kind of try to keep things going. They've got fun alternative systems for the various games. They do good things in general. So I'm happy that they've managed to do that, and they're gonna keep going rather than having to upend everything and go to what was the other game they were trying to do?
Blackout.
Yes, Blackout.
I
They're
personally
saying that
want
if they get enough money, they might do like a Blackout campaign or something and post it as well. So
I personally want to support Blackout. It is American veteran owned and operated, which is really cool. And from what I understand, it's like this is as close to simulating a modern or near modern firefight on tabletop as you can get. I just don't have time.
167 US is also a bit expensive. Not terrible, to be honest. I've seen worse.
If there were people playing it, I could justify it. But much like there was this one a while back where it was like Cold War, there's a Soviet moon base, there's an American moon base, the astronauts are fighting over bits of the moon and whatnot. That was supposed to be real good. It was called Lunar. And that one was supposed to be really good as well. But again, no one around here is playing it. So why am I going to sink hundreds of dollars into these models, these rules, bespoke moon terrain, if I don't have anyone to play it with?
That is always the problem with miniature games. Don't worry. It's always
hate to say it, but I can buy a box of Kill Team. I'll find people to play Kill Team with. Buy a box of Warhammer, people playing Warhammer. But now, buy a box of Battletech, and oh wait, I'm putting on Battletech, and we've been putting on Battletech, so
yeah,
like we've got that.
Everything other than that becomes a lot harder to find.
Once Gundam's out, it might be worth it or might work. Once
Draconis Reach dropped.
It did drop. Well, we'll probably have to do it next week then.
One of two things is going to happen with the Gundam build game, and I think it's actually going to be a secret third option. One, it's going to drop. Obviously, the card game and Everything Japan scalpers are going to just snatch it up, and you won't be able to find anything to actually get it and try and play it. You'll have a couple of dedicated groups that are like, well, I already play the card game, and I got these models that came with the card game, so may as well get the actual model game and try it out. It'll run about a month or two, and then it'll just fizzle out. And then the secret third...
It's kind of like what's happening with StarCraft.
The two games I'm... Well, not looking forward to, but there's the Gundam game, and you're saying pretty much what I would expect it to happen. Either scalpers grab it all, or people don't really play it, or it might break things as well. It might bring new people in. The other big one is StarCraft, because that's also coming later this year, if I remember right.
Well,
Everybody's
StarCraft's
breaking up.
already
Is it
hit.
me?
Yeah, StarCraft is out. Problem is, it from what a lot of game stores are saying is that it was popular, but as soon as 40K announced 11th edition, it kind of just fizzled.
Warhammer saw Blizzard trying to step on their shoes again, brought out the kill shot.
I mean, it really doesn't take much.
My whole thing with StarCraft was that, well, I mean, I was never a big StarCraft gamer. I appreciate the unit designs and, the Fanimations and whatnot, but it's the same thing that happened, recall back in 2016 and 17 with Spartan Games when they announced that they were working with 343 to put out Halo Fleet Battles and Halo Ground Command. Really good games, but the problem was there wasn't a video game tie-in to put the launch alongside. I looked at every single issue of Game Informer over the period that the game was being produced. Not a single advertisement. No tie-in at GameStop. No exclusive GameStop model, pre-order model. None of that. It just was poorly managed and went away.
To land on its own feet.
I mean, people want to talk about how real quick. I'm so sorry, but real quick, people want to talk about how video game adaptations on the big screen, they usually tend to flop, like the Resident Evil movies going off the rails, the Resident Evil show. What the hell was that? This new Tomb Raider. But video game tabletop tie-ins, they don't really have a good track record as well, outside of being a rebrand of a previously established board game and then go away.
Well, their site is saying that they've got nothing for sale, so that could either mean that they're sold out or that they haven't done anything. So
not a good sign. Not a good sign.
Yeah, not great. Well, it's like we see the same thing happen with RPG tie-ins. If you start with an RPG video game and then you try to make a tabletop game out of it, then it's not going to do great because the video game exists. Like Larian tried to do it with the Divinity Original Sin, and why? It's like that board game is not great.
I mean,
I would argue that Fallout is not necessarily on life support, not really even in ICU, but it's like what's carrying the Fallout tabletop game and role-playing game for, it's on hospice. It's getting releases, it's getting updates, but what's really carrying it is the fact that you do have those die-hard Fallout New Vegas fans and those Fallout 4 fans and fans of the show that are going to buy the tie-in models, because Modifius does at least say, oh, look, here's the Fallout TV show. You've gotten to know and love these characters over the season. Here's their models for the tabletop. Hate to say it, but that's how you do it, and that's how you keep it going.
I mean, what happened with Divinity was they decided to put out that board game when they put out Baldur's Gate 3, which is a better sandbox. It's like, hell, the Divinity video game is a better sandbox than the tabletop game they made.
I mean, at that point, you have to use theater of the mind, because it's like, dude, I can't, even with like a couple of 3D printers and Etsy shops, I can't make this world and be constantly changing it, like it gets rough.
Yeah.
You did say that there's a Falconer that came out. It looks okay. Probably going to try printing it. It might not print super nice, though. Falconer is one of those mechs that I'll have to do.
He added Saab 37 Viggen canards to the front of the mech. It looks like a Swedish jet fighter.
Which is fun.
It's pretty.
Love it.
I'm going to probably do a video with the Maelstrom and the Falconer together.
Marvelous.
Because that kind of makes sense to me, to do the two Marauder replacements together.
You can't replace perfection. I don't care what the haters
Falconer's damn good, though.
I know. I'm just saying you can't get rid of the Marauder. It's too good.
I mean, there's a reason there's only like what 2 variants of the Falconer. It's just a good mech.
The base version is what you want. So,
Oh no, man! A heavy PPC tied into an LB10 is kind of
Yeah.
nasty.
It's also a pretty good option.
yeah, but a Gauss rifle is a Gauss rifle.
Yeah. If your opponent shows up in a summoner, I'm pretty sure there's a summoner running around with an ERPPC and a Gauss rifle as well. You show up with this thing and go, oh, by the way, I have a targeting computer, so I can actually match your clan veteran gunnery. I match you on mobility, everything.
I think it's the Summoner P. So it's got like an SRM in the shoulder too.
Whoa. No.
But the question is, would the Falconer ever wind up in the Free Rasalhague Republic?
It's not on the list that I wrote for the Rasalhague Republic.
It's General Motors and Tharhis, so I would say most likely, if it did, it would be a trade-in from Tharhis Industries, since the Lyran Commonwealth still had trade ties, especially with the Comstar occupied version of the Free Rasalhague Republic.
That's the art bit in that particular era, but I mean, do you have the money to pay for it?
That's the other part. It's like I was saying in Discord, there's really 3 states that would be propping the FRR up. Obviously, Comstar, because it became a Comstar protectorate after it got its shit kicked in. But then you also have, more likely than not, interest from Karita and the Draconis Combine, since they helped bring the state into existence not 2 decades before. And then the Lyran Commonwealth, because, again, it was acting as a buffer between them and a hated enemy for a long time. And now it's acting as
Lyrans
the focus of a
wouldn't
new
be trading with them all that much during the Civil War, because that whole thing was a mess. So
really they have Comstar and they have the Combine, which was a Comstar asset.
You do kind of see that in some places, like when you reading the fluff of a gunslinger. That's kind of how it works. The Combine and the Lyrans worked on it, kind of sort of together, and then they gave them a couple of first batches to Rasalhague. I think it was the Freeman, second or third Freeman, to be the first to field test it, because hey, you're actually good at killing these clanners. Here's some good weapons for it.
Yeah, like,
you're actually going to be using those things.
Yep. Oh, okay. So to actually very quickly go back and answer Bearded Coyote's question, Rasalhague, that pronunciation Rasalhague comes from the real star that it's named for, and even then, that's its pronunciation in English. Almost every other people and language pronouncing that word are going to call it Rasalhague because of the way it's spelled. And in Swedish in particular, it's Rasalhague.
Keep that in mind. Thank you.
That is good to know.
It's Ophiuchus Alpha is the actual star.
I mean, they add... Well, it doesn't show all 84 worlds here, but they add 84 worlds in 3050. I'm not sure if that's the number they add at the start or if they actually colonized a few. I'm pretty sure they didn't conquer any worlds, but maybe in the periphery? Maybe they took some periphery worlds.
Employed some pirate states.
Yeah, that's also why they kept shoving all the mercenaries and the Kalehounds up there to patrol for pirates.
Yeah, the Oberon Confederation was something that very briefly got absorbed prior to them getting their shit kicked in.
So de jure territory rather than de facto.
Yeah.
You need, what, 40 years in Europa Universalis before it becomes your actual territory? And it becomes actually yours, something like that. They never got that particular. They never got that far.
No.
They did not, in fact, core the territory.
Sad Swedish sneeze noises.
Sad Swedenese noises.
There's Verdandi that keeps changing people, keeps changing hands. So at first it was Lyran, then it became Combine. Then the Great Legion showed up on it. It was Lyran again. Then it was Combine again. Then it was Rasalhague, or whatever.
Rasalhague.
And then the wolves showed. Is it the wolves or is
Yeah.
it the? Okay, it's the wolves that took it.
Initially.
So the wolves took it, and now I think it's in Elzors.
It's one of their factory worlds now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're one of the unluckiest planet in the bunch here.
I would say that when we look at the 32nd century timeline, even with the repeated changing of hands, Verthandi's not too bad off because it ends up being mostly clans changing the hands, so they're not blowing up civilian centers to fight over it. But
usually,
like
Did
Hell's
you
Horse
make
is
sure
fighting
that
Ghostbear.
Malvina was never there?
I don't think the Jade Falcons were ever involved in that.
no, it was Wolf and Elzors. So
It's wolf, horse, and bear, and they tend to be pretty, for lack of a better way of putting it, they're very much Takeda and Uesugi in terms of their conflicts with each other.
they just beat
Formal.
each other up, and the people are like, they're beating each other up. It's fine.
Formal rivals. We're going to have to change all our flags again. I guess the dye industry is going to get a little kick.
It's like
We
CAF,
just
you know,
change
they
who
just
your
have
tax goes to.
they just have a room full of flags, and they just put it up whenever somebody else lands.
They have a much higher sewer slide rate among accountants than other planets.
The provinces for the Republic were a bit weird, as you can see with the little lines in it, but that's how it is.
I mean, there's got to be some worlds where they're like, look, you guys are here this week. We'll raise your flag. The bank's over there, but please don't take the money out of it. We're gonna need those. We're gonna need those Fed Sons bucks next week when they come back. We're gonna need yours next month when you come back, and we might need the Lyrans when they come back. Just take what you need from the planet and leave us alone.
Why do you have Capellan?
Glory to the first
currency in
Prince
there?
Dragon thing. We even have some Capellan bucks just in case the Capellans show up.
That sounds like a
Oh, we got a robot.
You are breaking up pretty bad, Fubel.
Cursed timeline somehow has the Capellans reached the northern border of the Airsphere.
That would take a while, but you
never
know with how they're writing right now.
The rapid march of communism.
So Rasalhague,
we'll just call it Rasalhague. It's easier for us.
Rasalhague was independent at the very start of the setting, and then was no longer independent because the Kuritas like to take over various places. So it's just how it is. Let's see if we can get an early map. What's the earliest map on? Okay, even the earliest map on Sarna, they were under Kuritan control because the earliest map's 2571. Maybe they have an earlier map somewhere.
I think they got swallowed up right after one of the Camerons said, "Hey, we're gonna make a Star League. Everyone sign now or forever get nuked."
You best get in on
No,
this
it was
deal
even
now.
before that. It was even before that.
Oh, right, because they were at the actual Ares conventions, weren't they?
Yeah, so the Principality of Rasalhague is like 2319 is the only map that you have for it, and it showed up in the handbook House Karita on page 18.
Wow.
And it just shows Rasalhague as the capital with Thule, Holmsbu, Skalavold, Skelvik, Nerbergen, Trondheim, New Oslo, and Vipava as its surrounding systems. So in 2319,
this block here, basically.
Yep. And
then they got swallowed up.
Yep, in 2510.
Oh, 2510. It's a bit later than I expected. But I mean, 2510 is really at the end of the Age of War. So that's really when the borders were more or less drawn between the 5 great houses. So that would also make sense there.
So according to the Sarna article, which I'm trying to see if there's even a source for that particular statement. Yeah, the 20-year update, page 44, stated that it was a minor interstellar nation formed in the 2200s, and then was attacked in 2330 by Shirakurita, and then later subdued. So it apparently was embattled for almost 200 years before it actually fell.
But here's a fun thing to look at when we look at the Republic. Look at the references down here in the bibliography. That's basically what we have for the Free Rasalhague Republic. The 20-year update is where they first showed up, because that's an old book. 20-year update's a very old book, 89, and that's where they show up. They just show up and they say like, "Hey, there was a Ronin War, and there's a Free Rasalhague Republic now." There you go.
And here's a little bit of history of where it came from, and it's a blurb.
It is not a very big section. Then camo specs, well, that's not very good. Combat manual Kurita, there is some fun information in there for our good friends in the Republic. We actually have like some of the paint schemes and such for the King's Armée, which is better than what we had before. It actually solidifies them a little bit, but that's a very recent book. Handbook, Aussteiner, Major Periphery States, there's really not much in that. Historical Brush Wars, there's also not much in there. It's just to say that they exist. And some details on the Ronin Wars, which is basically all that defines them in the end. Jihad Final Reckoning, just saying that they got absorbed. Objective Raids is just a book to tell you where the factories are. So you really don't have a whole lot of material on them, unfortunately.
I believe it was Mage Leader said it best when he did his History of Rasalhague video about a year or two ago. He's like, and then somehow, for no reason at all, they just go, "Oh yeah, us Rasalhague people who have been so fiercely independent and fiercely fighting for our independence and fought against the clans and everything. Yeah, we just decided to join up with the clan. No reason, no explanation, just a paragraph that says, oh, by the way, we're totes besties now." Like most of the issues with Jihad, where it's like, oh, all these really important people died in an off-screen death in a car bomb attack. Don't worry, we'll flesh it out later. It's like, dude, it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years. Where's the fleshing out? Rand will be like, I'll get a Nova Cat novel out eventually, and don't worry, I'm going to let Jason Hansa write the Wars of Reaving novels 15 years after publishing.
I mean, there's very weird things with that overall.
Hey, be happy he is actually not. That's a good thing.
I find it deeply unfortunate with the Free Rasalhague Republic and its joining of Clan Ghost Bear that the best explanation we get about it came from Tex of the Black Pants Legion. Actually put more effort and thought into what he did than Fasa or Catalyst with regard to that event.
Did Fasa ever have anything to do with it, though? Was it WizKid?
It was WizKids, which is still the same people.
Yeah.
Just with a different owner.
But, yeah.
I think it's unfortunately one of those things where I'm guessing that there were notes and there was something to suggest that this was going to legitimately be a thing of them eventually coming together other than by conquest, but it never had a chance to be fully fleshed out because no one competent enough stuck around to do it.
Or there was no money to do it, which is another big problem, especially in that WizKid era.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Constantly legally embattled.
Was it you that said that the Republic basically exists to be Worf in
Yep.
BattleTech?
Yeah. It's like they showed up, they started fighting, and they were really good at fighting, and then they suddenly just weren't.
They suddenly just lost because they couldn't have the Federated Commonwealth lose too much or the Combine lose too much. So they had to have someone as a to get beat up in the whole story. And well, that's basically the role that they got here due to how the invasion worked.
I mean, you could call them Vegeta for how small they were.
I usually refer to it as having a severe case of Poland syndrome.
That's another good one.
It depends on how you want to look at it. If Poland just means that you get invaded by everyone, so yes, it also works. Because I mean, the Combine did get hurt, and the Combine's the one that got hurt the most because out of the two other major powers there, because they had to fight on Lucian, but Rasalhague, what's left at the end is up to Tukayid. It's like here,
it's 7 systems.
Yeah. Those little worlds here. A few of them are rich, so at least there's that.
Yeah, Tukayid, Grumium, and Ueda, and Orestes actually all have pretty large manufacturing bases.
So I mean, at least they were still rich then, but it's pretty sad overall, I would say. But I mean, you needed someone to get beaten pretty bad. And I mean, you couldn't just hit on the Capellans because the problem was coming from the other side this time.
Yep.
That's basically it. Because things got dicey. But I mean, yes, the Rasalhague was supposed to be really good, but if you look at the King's Armée, it wasn't huge either. I mean, 206 regiments, but 16 were battle mech regiments. That is
anemic.
It's a regiment, at least one regiment on each planet as a planetary defense times. I think it was, when you look at it, it's like there's always at least 2 vehicle, 1 motorized infantry, and then where are the battle mechs, pretty much.
Battle mechs probably split up as battalions on various worlds rather than as their old regiment, which was perfectly reasonable during most of the Succession War and would have been reasonable, and they would have been able to keep growing.
But the clans changed all that up.
The clans changed things a little bit.
So what, a regiment is essentially assigned like a sector of space that they need to spread themselves out on?
Basically.
Yes, they usually had like 3 planets they would pop between depending on what they had to do. I think one of the Drakens and the Freemen and the Gunsberg Eagles are the ones that were one of the only ones that actually had everything always in the same area. So those were more like sledgehammer units anyway.
Well, the Gunsberg, I mean, it makes sense because Gunsberg is very central to the Republic. And from there, I mean, look at the light year jump, 30 light year. That's so the 26.8 parsec is the distance you can jump with a jump ship, or no, it's 30 light years that you can jump with a jump ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So look at this. From Gunsberg, you can get to like this entire region here, basically, in one jump, which is very central. And from where you are, you can threaten the Combine, you can threaten the Commonwealth. So, and you can defend from the Commonwealth or defend from the Combine. So it would make sense that you stick a regiment there and you sit them there for a while. Same thing with Rasalhague. Just stick a regiment here and they can cover a good chunk around here. You could have stuck one on Tukayid. That would have been another good place to stick a regiment as a HQ.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the jump is from Tukiyid, though. That's another thing that you sometimes don't think of right away, is how long is the travel from the planet to the jump point. It's a week. It's not that bad, but I can't remember which world in the Draconis Combine the travel time between this planet and the sun is 28 days. That's rather terrible.
It's like you have to go 1 month on impulse just to get to the jump point, and then you probably have to wait a week for charge.
Well, I mean, the jump ship's going to be full by the time
assuming
you get
the
there.
jump ship's full. Now, actually, I was going to make that point as well with the Gunsberg Eagles being in that central location. If you've got Comstar backing you with communications, you can have jump ships prepped for quick transfer and additional jump at location.
Mm.
It's something I mess around with as a concept with Phi Galaxy in the mid-32nd century, is since they have so many ties to logistics chains, they just figure out where all the long-haul truckers are and requisition vehicles for quick jumps. Then you only have like a day or two at each jump point before you go again.
If you have Comstar helping you, they can tell you when to start leaving before the other guy even receives the message.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of the Draconis Combine with this old deal with Rasalhague. Because really, it's fun. I like reading about the independence of Rasalhague, because it literally is a point where the Combine's like, they're broke. They've got like very bad leaders outside of Theodore Kurita. He's the only one that kind of makes sense. And
they have
know
the FedCom coming for them.
Yeah, they know the FedCom's coming for them. So they have to do something. If I had been Ance Davion, I would have killed the Capellan Confederation before I messed with the Combine, but I am not Ance Davion. I am not as handsome as he is. I am sorry.
He had to have a bit of a Zap Brannigan moment. He's got the face of it.
The most important element in war is surprise, gentlemen.
Surprise!
Surprise!
Yeah,
Drop the entire regiment on planet without telling them.
Surprise! At your wedding, you declared a fourth succession war. That was surprise enough.
Ladies and gentlemen of the wedding party and the guests, I would like to speak a moment on war.
There are some who say I like war.
Surprise when the Rasalhague general ends up being the next what was it?
First Lord?
When they made the second Star League, they put the Rasalhague guy in charge for all of 2 weeks until that fell apart again.
Well, yeah, it's like allegedly it was Comstar made a bid with him with calling for the vote of dissolution with the intent of forcing the Inner Sphere to rally behind keeping it together, and instead everyone said, no, okay, cool, we're out.
We were already planning this anyway.
And he was the guy that brought Wob into it as well, if I recall.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but
that vote in particular.
The idea started in 3030, so 4 years before the actual thing, with Mindo Waterly basically putting her full backing behind Aus Kurita. She really didn't like Ance Davion. I have a feeling that she tried to she had a crush on Ance Davion when she was younger, and then she noticed that she was marrying someone younger, so she got mad. Something along those lines. Because you can't hate the guy that much, even if you're, not from there. So they basically wanted to split it up, and they wanted Sky to become independent as well. But knowing Sky, that never works. So at least there's that. And while old man Takashi refused, younger man, I won't say young here, Theodore was kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, and but we will need something in return. And Comstar gave them a few things in return. A lot of battle mechs that were used in the War of 39. ROM intelligence on enemy movement, which is entirely counterintuitive to what Comstar needs to do. preferential rates on HPDG communication, that's a good thing. Well, a good thing. That's something I would see Comstar do, and transfer a contract of multiple mercenary units to the Combine, but they hated the mercenaries back in those days. So did that make sense? Not really. But it is what it is.
Bad times make for strange bedfellows.
So basically, the creation of Rasalhague allowed for the Kuritas House Kurita to survive the War of 39. That's what one led to the other. And because of how the deal was written up, well, Katrina Steiner had to seed a bunch of worlds as well from the Rasalhague district, even though Selvin Kelswa, this jackass, was opposed to it. And yes, he is quite a gentleman, let's say. We'll use that term here. But at least he died fighting. I mean, he died fighting. So that there is that. But if you want more information on the Ronin Wars and the independence of Rasalhague, this is unfortunately the best we got.
Yeah.
MechWarrior 5, Rise of Rasalhague, which is not a great name because they already had another DLC called Rise of something. So, oh no, they didn't. Okay, good. I thought there was another one like that. Okay, so this is the best you've got because it actually covers all of the Ronin Wars from more or less start to finish. You don't do every single operation, but you're there for every major turning points in the war itself.
And then
this is probably one of the better DLCs in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it did give a decent amount of stuff. It brought us the Crusader, which is now every single mission where there's a 65 tonner, it's a Crusader instead of a Thunderbolt. That's what annoys me. I'd like to see more Thunderbolts than Crusaders, but that's just me.
Sure, on the coreward side of the inner sphere, though. It's like, as much as the Thunderbolt's an iconic chassis, it's very much a built in the Capellan Confederation and Free Worlds League and then shipped elsewhere thing.
And Steiner.
That is true. Lyran Commonwealth has them too.
I mean,
So
it is
there
common
should be
just
more.
about everywhere.
Yeah, it's a ubiquitous mech.
The other great thing in this expansion was the mercenary stuff that they added. Like the mercenaries that can show up and you have to fight and get intel on. That was actually a fun mechanic. And weird things happen with it, but not weird enough to my taste. But that's just because how the procedurally generated missions are in the game. But as far as the campaign goes, it's a very fun campaign as well because there's all sorts of things going on. You're fighting the Lyrans at first, then you're fighting the Ronins, and it's just interesting in general. So for people who are really interested in these guys, that's probably the better people.
And of course, the Brush War book. That's it.
Well, the Brush War books is basically tells you who is where, when, and what happens, which is not bad. It does give you the details that you want as to what's going on.
It's just
it is a fun campaign to play if you're playing on the table because you're just at the cusp here. You've got some newer models showing up. You've got some fancier things here and there. But it's not super fancy on any sides. And you can just have fun with what's going on at more or less Succession War level.
Yeah. It's the last Succession War.
No, 39, War 39 is after that.
Well, 39, you started having a lot more...
yeah, true. You have a lot lost tech that is now not lost tech anymore. You are right.
Yeah, this is the last hurrah of Succession War.
And I mean, it's the only real Rasalhague thing in the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's after that you've got clan invasion and everybody gets their ass kicked back to back to back. Kind of sad.
At that point, the Rasalhague Republic becomes Worf.
It is interesting to read about the government of the Republic because it's closer to an actual republic than most of the others. Let's face it. But I'm not sure how effective and efficient it actually was.
It was only around long enough for a stress test.
Yeah.
Well, there was supposed to be a term limit on the elected prince, and it wasn't supposed to be a hereditary title. But
10 years for two terms. I just read it.
Yeah, but
it gives early Davian vibes where clearly the Magnusons wanted to pull a Davian and make it hereditary, and then the clans kind of smacked any opportunity to actually do that.
I mean, I can understand why Akon extended his reign if it was 2 terms voted, because when your entire realm's getting chewed up and eaten up, it kind of makes sense that you can keep control for a bit longer.
Really, he only extended it for 6 years,
which is, I mean, it's more than half of an extra term, which is quite long.
Right, but so much was going on.
but
it was a justified crash out of the democratic system.
Yes.
It's like they had their stress test early, and the stress test immediately fractured any concept of actually following the government they decided upon.
I mean, if you really look at it, because of how long the Ronin Warriors lasted, 3036, 3037, they literally existed for 10 years. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, the Ronin War is not that long. The problem is there was pockets of resistance and pockets of problems everywhere.
And then they got betrayed by their mercs.
So.
Yeah.
But yes, it really wasn't long. But I have a very strong suspicion that the election of Ragnar Magnusson, who was part of Clan Wolf at the time, was not quite democratic. Let's be nice there.
Are we accusing him of being a quisling?
I mean, it sounds really weird here. You know, that a guy that isn't living with your people, that's currently not just like a prisoner of war. No, he's actively helping Clan Wolf, is the one getting elected as the next leader of your nation.
And to be fair, at the time he was elected, he was already part of Ghost Bear.
Oh, he was part of Ghost Bear at that time?
He was captured in 3060.
So
he was a wolf, and then he was a Ghost Bear.
At least a little bit better.
That also at least gives a starting point in writing for how the rest of the Rasalhague Republic becomes part of Ghost Bear.
Yes.
Even if it is through dishonest means. Which would also go a long way to explain the Mutstand and other things that happened later. But again, it's all illusion and guesswork because we didn't get actual written lore for it.
You got a blurb.
We got a blurb. And a bunch of references that could be that.
The other
or they could be good. It could all depend on who's writing it.
And right now, the person who's writing it is Uncle Bri Bri.
Don't get me started.
So, yeah.
Oh, please do. Just not on stream.
The good thing here, everything else was more or less democratic. So the world leaders were supposed to be elected. The dukes were supposed to be elected. Like everybody was supposed to be elected. But the constitution were based on the planets and not as the entire state as the same constitution and follow the same thing. So there would have been a few little differences there, but nothing major. it's always fun when they go, there's a parliament or something like that in Battletech, because since you do have HPGs, but it's still not, it's faster communication, but not instant communication, because you always have to send a message and then it reaches. Anything that's a parliament means that, every leader have to go to the parliament every year. And I mean, do you get your information from your own planet that quickly? And it sounds like it's very difficult to manage. At least the Rasalhague Republic was small-ish. When you look at the Free Worlds League, it gets a little bit out of hands, let's say.
The wonders of sci-fi logistics of just ignore time and space and distance.
Battletech's better than many settings for that, but it's not perfect. It is far from perfect. I mean, it's better than modern Star Wars and modern Star Trek, where things just happen.
Somehow.
Yes.
Somehow the Star League returned.
Somehow the Star League returned. Yes.
I was gonna say, in the Dark Age, it gets a little weirder because nobody should know what's going on because there's no HPGs.
Well,
the no
clans have the
HPG thing
Chatterweb,
was really dumb, and it keeps getting dumber, and it ruins things even more. So I honestly that's what I really can't stand about Dark Age and Ilklan. It makes
Just
no sense because of
no more
communication
mystery boxes.
on a scale this
Gotcha.
size doesn't work.
CGL
And they
wants
waived
CFox to
fixing
be-
it in a novel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want CFox to be the new Comstar, so they.
The Merchants Guild controlling everything. What did they mean by this?
Oh, it is so subtle and so cool.
Mystery box solved. Don't ask how.
Oh, okay. So to quickly cycle back to the conspiracy theory with Ragnar Magnusson and his connection to Ghost Bears, eventually leading to that merger of the states, it was actually FASA that set that up. So the trial at Utrecht where he was captured, the state of him being returned to Rasalhague to be voted upon as part of the Kungsarmee, that was all still within FASA's writing.
Yeah, because FASA basically led up to 3065.
Well, I mean 3075. It's like the
no. Theoretically, FASA dissolved before TRO 3067 launched.
I suppose. Hold on. What am I looking at? Let me check a thing, because
Badcom Civil War was a fan pro book.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
like we were saying, it's still the same people, just
right,
different, just a different ownership.
It's still the same people, theoretically.
Yeah, a few of them, but not many of the ones who were writing the significant swathes of storytelling for the game. A few of them are left, but not many of the ones who were originally working on Rasalhague.
No, but he was doing the Capellian.
Yeah, it's like the forming of the Magnusson blood name is from CGL. But
that's because you gave blood name. Everybody gets a blood name.
Yeah. It's like, so
but
Magnusson is a blood name.
At least for the blood name Magnusson, it kind of makes sense.
Well, I mean, same with Miraborg. Like, those are the two that actually make sense to turn into blood names because of the alleged respect the clans had for this honored enemy. But
I mean, Clan Novacat should have had a blood name Kurita after they inherited Ohiro. I mean, there's a few like that should have gotten blood names, but they never did. Or
not Ohiro, I thought the other one.
Minoru, not Ohiro. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's too many weird things going on. But I mean, Ragnar, it just is really weird that you would get elected.
That one was actually explained, Prof. They only used his blood as the male donor.
No, but I mean, why he got elected as,
No, I meant
Corita.
for Minoru.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like mothers are the ones who determine the blood name. So
Yeah.
So never mind.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going on that one. Yes.
So, I mean, if Christian Mansdottir had actually been elected rather than just acting as regent, it would have made more sense in this timeline thing. At least in my eye. It's just how I see it.
I'm probably wrong. I always assumed that them bringing Ragnar in was another thing the Bears were just doing a particular brand of pandering to the Rasalhague natives just to get them to calm the hell down. We have other problems now instead of just each other, please and thank you.
That kind of was it.
That's why suddenly all the new Bear equipment, you'd start seeing like, here is the new tier tank, here's the Azier dropship, and all these other. But the Bears had a Nordic thing to them anyway, so it's not too much of a stretch, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it's not a hard stretch. The hard stretch is reconciling clan culture with inner sphere culture, and taking that warped concept of family that the Ghost Bears built in the home worlds and bringing that back to the inner sphere where actual family matters.
The Bears were far more conciliant, though. I mean, the Bears culture changed more than the Rasalhague culture did.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I always come from looking at it, is the Ghost Bears aren't who forced themselves onto Rasalhague. Rasalhague was basically accepting home people who had been gone for a long time and trying to bring them back up to speed from a cultural perspective, while the Bears were bringing them up to speed from the military perspective so they could defend themselves.
Damn, being slapped around a 2-kid really did the clans a lot of good.
Yeah, no shit.
Sometimes you just got to get your ass kicked to learn a lesson.
The Snow Ravens are doing pretty good in their a bit of space as well, with trying to reconcile two different societies. And the Goliath Scorpions are doing great in their end of space as well. So it's as if like merging the two might not be a bad idea.
Are we counting the war that
that almost sounds like a good story theme that the new modern writers are entirely incapable of pulling off.
Now, let's not get too far into the weeds of that particular failing.
Because there is a bit of failing there.
It's like there's plenty of ways to make it work, just not any of the ways they're trying.
And you have to try really hard to manage to mess up that bad. And surprisingly, Fossa and WizKid Fan Pro, they had a pretty good way of doing things, even though you're saying that a lot of people switched over between the two here when in terms of the story itself. It wasn't that bad. And it kind of made sense until like they decided to go Dark Age, and Dark Age just throws everything out the window because they wanted to do something completely different, which is probably not what they should have done.
Yeah, like credit where the credit
completely different.
Good news is, where credit is due, early Catalyst were pretty decent stewards of the franchise in terms of trying to bring things up to speed. It's like they had their failings where like you have regiments within regiments type stuff going on where they just don't understand how military structures work. But in terms of trying to reconcile notes, writing, other stuff that got lost during the WizKids years, they did okay in bringing things
I'd say up until 2015.
Yeah, pretty much. Like 2009 to 2015 is all right.
Yeah, when Rome left. And then it went downhill from that.
Yep.
One thing that's really bad about the Republic, once you look at it, they add some major industries. Like if you read through this here, and if you look, it's really in objective rates that you're going to see it. They had a couple major industries and things like that, which wasn't too bad. But they have no dropship and no jump ship production capability, which for a state is really, really bad. And even St. Ives add dropship production capability. Even though it was a smaller state, St. Ives was really, really rich. Let's face it here. There's like every single world in the St. Ives Compact is a manufacturing world.
Yeah.
That probably helped.
Granted, the Bears fixed that later, but yeah.
But you could also say that it's amazing that they actually had an economy, since these were worlds that the Draconis Combine and Lyran Commonwealth fought over for 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way it worked is like the few worlds that add those major economies, it's because the different parties were managing them and building things on them.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm just saying,
remember that after the Second Succession War, people have a tendency to blow things up a lot less as well.
Yeah, but the first and second, that was the front. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but it was a poor region of space.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much industry and major industries in, the Rasalhague slice during the First and Second Succession War. The buildup we have, like, of the different industries here, they're all more recent. They're like late Second Succession War to founding of Rasalhague. So it's interesting enough to see. And the way they did trade is also quite funny, because every deal they did with the Combine, they had to get a similar deal or for a similar amount with the Commonwealth. So they were trying to even out the trade between the two parties. Because of that, they realized that they were probably better off buying stuff from the Free Worlds League or the Federated Suns, because they wouldn't have to do that kind of dealing between people. Which is, it's a fun thing to just put into a story, but it's kind of hard to imagine how bad that would be as far as trade deals goes. They would probably need a genius trade master to keep that going.
You know what would have been interesting is if the clans didn't invade, what would they have done? Would they've had to, if they were starting to trade with Davion and Merrick, if when the FedCom actually formed, would they've had to now,
I have a feeling they would have ended up being closer to the FedCom than to the Combine, just because of, historical background. But they would have, a bit like St. Ives, they would have remained more or less neutral in the whole thing. I mean, remove the clan invasion and the entire setting's completely different. So we'll never know what would have happened. I mean, maybe Magnuson loses an election, someone else takes power, and he just goes power hungry crazy and starts invading everyone. Who knows?
We must spread our borders.
You mean Tor becomes president or what?
Oh, yes. Tor Miraborg becomes president, elected prince. Things would have gone very different, and Ark Royal would have been invaded and burned to the ground. We've got 18 regiments of battle mechs. We're dropping all of them on Ark Royal. That's what they deserve.
But then somehow every Merc unit in 3151 is related to Kelhelm.
Never mind.
All right. So
I mean, that would be a much bigger alternate universe to deal with. The clans don't exist. Kerensky actually
Or they just
dies.
didn't invade.
Kerensky and the Exodus fleet actually dies in the depth of space. and there is no clans, things would be very different. I think too different to actually be, a thought experiment I want to do right now.
I mean, you would need Katrina Steiner to mess things up, otherwise the Federated Commonwealth just beats everyone into submission eventually.
There would be a second Star League. Just the guy wouldn't be a Cameron, it would be a Davion Steiner, or just a Davion, or just a Steiner. That's basically it.
Now, one thing that the Rasalhague Republic had going for them was when they split off, they essentially inherited Metals of the Earth, which was the second largest mining and manufacturing company from the Combine. And they inherited both of the planets that they had holdings in. So that's the company that was tasked with reverse engineering the triple strength Myomer. That's the company that pulled Earth metals needed for jump drives. So they were basically helping make that trade, even if they didn't build their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's definitely and their center's on Nox. So it's a long-ass recharge time, so it's really hard to get to. And it's really hard to leave if you fuck up. So they
jump
basically...
distance is only 5 days. It's not that far.
Well, jump distance is 5 days. Recharge is 193 hours.
Ooh, okay. That is different. You're right.
So that basically turns into you can get to and from the planet in a week, but you're going to be sitting at the jump point for a while. And if that's the center of their industry, everyone in neighboring systems is going to come in and reinforce the conventional forces that are defending it. But it also means that if they cut off trade with either of their neighbors who do have dropship and jump ship production, they can potentially leave neighboring fleets dead in the water.
I was gonna say, you could just interdict the jump points, and you're basically...
And that also adds to if Comstar's backing you, then you have even more reason to not mess with them.
They were kind of always on Comstar welfare to a degree.
Well, I mean, they came about because of Comstar welfare.
Yeah.
Comstar needed them to exist, basically.
They are the Section 8 of the Intersphere.
Not that bad. But, I mean, without Comstar, they wouldn't have existed to begin with, because I'm pretty sure the Combine wouldn't have let them go. So...
Plus, a lot of the Comstar's factories ended up being in Rasalhague space as well.
Yeah. Well, it's like they had total control over Tukaid, and then the neighboring systems after Rasalhague was reduced were very largely controlled by Comstar and protected by Comstar.
We'll put all of our manufacturing base in this disputed zone. No one will go for it. Oh no.
Oh no! I'm a genius.
Well, where else would they have to go? Because Comstar basically got kicked out of everywhere else.
Well, other than the Free Worlds League.
Well, no, the Comstar got kicked out of the Free Worlds League.
That's true.
Because Word of Blake was there. That is when you have the difference between the two that really starts being a problem.
Well, if Waterley hadn't had that hemorrhage in the shape of a bullet to the back of the head, probably wouldn't have been as much of an issue.
She slipped and fell on a bullet. Things happen sometimes, Yeah. The guy's tied to a 3. He's got a shotgun blast to the back, and it's ruled a suicide.
Oh,
that happened a few days ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
It happens.
This happens.
That happened to the guy who was the first person on the scene at the OKC bombing.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely enough.
There's
fewer comic books and series and stuff about the Oklahoma City bombing than there are about JFK. I've just started reading a comic series, and it goes around the JFK assassination. But the thing is that the JFK assassination was, the conspiracy theories like the opposite. Like, yes, he got killed by Oswald, and you have to figure out that why he got killed by Oswald rather than anything else. It's a bit more interesting, yeah, to have to try that thought experiment in a comic book. Never mind. I still wish comic books were interesting enough to have a channel about.
Comic books.
Well, too bad you have to switch to manga now.
Ugh.
Yeah, even there,
the comic
it's
book industry. Well, you see,
European comics still doing pretty good, but you have to be very discerning when going through things, because there is also the same kind of problem as the American comic industry, but you still have
Purity
some
test?
good stuff.
Purity tests.
Yes, and it's not as good as it should be, let's say.
Comics should still be making millions of dollars hand over fist. They have people in place.
So in terms of military formations, you had the Dracons, the Freemen, the Usser, the Cavaleries, Gunsberg Eagle, which was a little bit different, and the First Tier, which disappeared and came back and come back and disappears and is now part of another galaxy, if I remember right, and they just move around. So you have a variety of you had different units, and they were a little bit different, each of them, in how they were supposed to be built and how they were supposed to be set up. So it's a little bit interesting.
They're a little more like in weight classes.
Like light mechs for the Cavaleries, the Ussers are lights and mediums, the Freemans are mediums, and the Dracons are your heavy mechs.
Yep.
And assault mechs are, as usual, almost absent because nobody's building enough
The
to
Eagles.
make full formations of them.
Yeah, it's
Eagles
the Eagles.
are assaults only, but again, they only had like one mech regiment. They were mostly tanks.
It's like a group of assaults with a bunch of support.
so what, you got a bunch of demolishers and then all of the artillery.
Artillery and aerospace. They love their aerospace.
Oh yeah, they did have the suitably crazy pilots that saved them.
Yes. Multiple.
I mean, it looks like it's 2 battalions of battle mechs, an air wing, and an armor regiment as a backup, which is quite good and quite well. I would say it's quite decent. But yes, they would be running axles, demolishers, and vedettes because that's what they add. And the axle is it is certainly a tank. There's definitely a word to be said about the axle as it being a tank.
It exists.
Well, I mean, 168 armor on a 65-tonner tank, it's not terrible, but you go 3-5, so you are slower than most main battle tanks that the other factions are going to be running that go generally 4-6.
Right.
So you're a bit slower. You've got, I would say you have about the same armor as many other.
I gotta drop on off. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.
Take it easy, man.
It's actually less armored out of the Pattons and the Rommels.
Which is a problem. Yeah. I mean, but if you look, the von Luckner is the same speed and has less armor. The one with the that's the Demolisher. That's the Demolisher copy. Sorry. That's the regular one, 3-5, little bit more armor, PPC AC-10. You've got more guns, that's for sure. But in terms of armor, it's not a big difference between that's 10 tons bigger than the axle.
What's that price on the Luckner?
3.3 mil, while the axle is 1.3. So you can buy 2 axle for the price of a von Luckner. But the AC-10 and PPC make a big difference because you've got the range on the von Luckner, which you do not have on the axle.
Not with that AC-20.
mean, the most comparable tank would be your Manticore.
Mhm.
4.6, a little bit more armor with 11 tons. You've got less punch because you only have a PPC rather than an AC-20. You've got the same backup with an LRM-10, but you got an extra medium laser, which takes way too much weight on the Manticore, and an SRM-6, which the Axle replaces with a pair of machine guns, which is very good because that tank's going to be dealing with infantry every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a great tank, but I'm not saying it's bad either. It's
How does it compare to the Poe?
The Axle to the Poe.
The Poe.
Why are you on ESPN?
Poe is always a pain to find because it's Poe Heavy Tank.
Heavy tank. Yep.
Poe Heavy Tank. The Poe is cheaper at 1 million per unit. It has the same armor.
It's faster.
It's faster at 4.6. It has an AC-10 with 2 tons of ammo, so it's comparable to your AC-20 with 4 tons of ammo in terms of
And 2
number of
machine
shots
guns.
you're going to be able to put. You don't have an LRM on the Poe. You've got the same machine guns.
So it's the basic tank.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
no,
is
the
a
Poe
super
is
basic-
as basic as you can get. It's
It's just a Rommel patent, whatever they want to call it today.
no, the
If
Poe
it
is a
was
lot
spice,
cheaper
it
because
would
it's an
be
ICE
flour.
engine.
This is the compellents panicking, saying everyone to the factories make a tank, and then they made a whole bunch of these, and
This is
then
a
they didn't die.
T-34.
It is literally a T-34 of Battletech, except that the turret's all the way to the back rather than all the way to the front. That's the difference between the two.
Everyone make a tank right now, and they slap this together.
Because, I mean, your other options to make a tank, like the Manticore, is your other option. I would take a Manticore before a Poe, but the Manticore is 2.5 mil, while the Poe is 1 mil. So those things you can just keep buying,
See,
while the Manticore at some
requires
point you're
things
going to
like
run
an
out.
industrial base and equipment, as
Yeah.
opposed to a machine shop and converting it from a tractor.
True,
Yes,
because
which-
it has a fusion engine. Yeah.
And that is another problem that we have when we look at the industry for Rasalhague is almost all of their military industry is in the planets that get crushed by the clans. So they pretty much become entirely reliant on what Comstar's given them, what infrastructure's been built up on Tukiet and the surrounding systems, and then what they can get in trade for whatever little rare earth metals they were able to scrape away with them.
Because they really don't have a whole lot that they can trade outside of that, unfortunately.
Yeah. So they're reliant on essentially they turn into the data center of the inner sphere once reduced to that 7 systems.
I mean, once you're down to 7 systems, unless you're St. Ives and all those systems are heavily industrialized, there's not much you can do. Period.
Now, if we're talking about what to do with like the 5SW timeline and Rasalhague, if they're acting as a protectorate of Comstar, it is well within reason to suggest that those 7 systems become incredibly heavily industrialized.
No, they become a protectorate of the Wolf Dragoon.
Ah, well, same second verse, same as the first. It's like if the Wolf Dragoons are
Especially
making a
since the
protectorate.
Dragoons have, I mean, the 5th Succession War, the Dragoons have a long-term contract with Comstar. They go and train the Comstar people in what the remains of the Republic, and then they start pushing on the clans with the help of Comstar and the Republic. So,
Or some of the early builds that the Word of Light was trying to hide away, so they turn up on their front lines.
What's this Gurkha mech? I like that it has a sword. I like melee. We'll take more of these Gurkhas. What's this weird C3 thing?
we don't like that. Too complex.
Because the
I
Word of
think
Light
I
is doing
put the Gurkha in
taking
my
their
list.
manufacturing from
When did the
inside
Gurkha
every
come
World
out?
League, so there's a lot of things from the Word of Light that's technically sooner than you'd expect, but
3063 and 35 tons. I have to go and
I have
add
to
it.
check that. I think there's a number that end up being sooner than you'd expect, but because it was the Word of Lake exclusive, it just doesn't get shown up anywhere.
That's the initiate.
Buccaneer.
The initiate, the 3063 onwards. The initiate, the Toyama, those kind of things are a lot earlier than you'd expect. But really nobody was running them. So
Oh, Buccaneers 3055 for the first variant.
yeah, the Buccaneer is also an early one, and it is in the list here.
Wow.
Did I? No, I didn't put. Oh yeah, okay. Buccaneers. I thought it was 50 tons. Oh, it's a 55 tonner.
Way earlier than I thought.
Yeah, but it's the basic Buccaneer is not anything really special. It's just a 55-ton axe mech that's well built, unlike the the Hatchet Man.
The more well-known axe mech.
I mean, ER large, 4 medium, medium pulse, a hatchet, an SRM6 with Artemis, all the fancy things. All it's missing is a triple strength Myomer. And I don't think there's any. Is there a version with triple strength Myomer?
There's
don't think
one
so.
with improved jump jets in a plasma rifle. I don't think they made a TSM version.
Because reasons. Ugh. Oh, and there's the all missile boat version as well. Yes. Remove the hatchet on the Buccaneer and put more missiles in, and improve jump jets.
The MML5 version still has the hatchet. The 6W.
Oh, it's just the model that I had that didn't have the hatchet. That's right. The model.
So the Word of Lake is giving a bunch of drugs and melee weapons, and then sitting back and going, "Neat, noted."
Now, I can't imagine that there's any reason other than the loss of certain industries that TSM would not end up on the Buccaneer at some point. And that's probably the only reason is they lost the industry that was making the TSM.
No, because it's built by Gibson Federated Battle Mechs, which also made the.
That's true.
The a bunch of things with triple strength Myomer.
Right,
it's probably because they stopped more or less production of that thing to build the more fancy mechs that the Word of Blake was building.
Yeah,
that's more likely.
And or leaning hard into use of C3 computers.
Mm-hmm. Because I did write a Kungsarmé army composition, at least a start of one. Well, start of one. It's actually one of the more complete ones I did. And I did write up like where the parts are coming from for Fifth Succession War.
Logistics.
Says the Battle of Tukayid, Comguard basically is selling them surplus equipment. And it includes all the Tukayid special mechs that they built for the Battle of Tukayid. Well, I mean, they don't need them anymore because the Battle of Tukayid is done. So you sell them to the Kungsarmé and they can take care of it.
Hey, Clan Buster's a Clan Buster. I'll take it. I think it's one of the more numerous Black Knight version that they have too.
Yeah. Received a lot as a gift.
They become good friend. I mean, they become good friends with the Wolf Dragoon, and Blackwell is going to start equipping them as well. So there's that. Argyle saying, how many Vindicator 1AA? Well, speaking of that, well, you don't keep the Vindicator 1AA. You take a chassis from a Phoenix Hawk, then you take off the arm and you stick the arm from the Vindicator on it, and you take the head of the Phoenix Hawk off and you put the head of the Vindicator on, and you make an actual mech called the Avenging Angel with a hatchet because you're the Kungsarmé and you like hatchets.
We must ask them to leave.
Does it still have those ejection problems the Vindicator had?
Probably, because it's the Vindicator's head.
No, see, what you got to do is because you swapped the head, you've got to give it the full head ejection quirk.
That would be hilarious.
So instead, it just pops
the ejection system doesn't work. Have the whole head come off.
We have to make a custom quirk. If the unit takes a certain amount of damage to the center torso, the head immediately ejects. like a
old
soccer
Maulers.
robot.
The old Maulers.
If you're struck in the head a melee weapon, the head automatically ejects.
The Battletech toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an ERPPC, 2 ER medium lasers, triple strip myomer, a hatchet, goes 696 with a light engine, almost max armor, 8.5 tons of ferrofibrous. It eats up, so the triple strip myomer can activate. I mean, what's there not to like?
It's got a Vindicator's head.
It's good. Well, yeah, well, Vindicator's head's not that bad. Vindicator's head decently cool.
I'm messing with one of my friends. One of my friends, that's his favorite mech is the Vindicator. So.
I understand it's not a bad mech. And yes, the old Ed was a bit funky, but the PGI version is really cool. The PGI Vindicator is top notch, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the Vindicator is an exceptional trooper for a commander in the sense that you can mass equip people with these meaningfully and have them actually make a difference on the battlefield.
It's a medium weight Panther.
Yeah. And
exactly.
The Panther's another thing. You can say it just works.
And that's why the Hatchet Man was built, to fight Vindicators and Panthers. That is my theory on why the Fedcom would build the Hatchet Man.
It
sounds like building the wolf
to fight those
to
two
fight the
things.
clans, but okay. Because the Hatchet Man's going to try to run at this, but it's only 4/6, so you just jump back 4?
Well, the Hatchet Man also jumps 4, so... But no, if it comes to for this guy, no, this guy's is going to beat a Hatchet Man. A regular Hatchet Man, at least. I mean, I was messing with this morning. I was thinking of putting the XL engine to have the LRM5 and, like, you know, the same kind of kit as a Vindicator, but you guys convinced me to just leave it as a light engine so you can stick the hatchet in. And, well, the PPC's bigger than a large laser on a regular Phoenix Hawk. So you do have some weight there. There's bound to be a custom, a secondary variant where the RPPC is replaced with a large pulse lasers because people like large pulse lasers. That's fine as well. You're allowed to.
I mean, you'll probably have a variant eventually if plasma becomes a thing after 5SW, then you may see plasma rifle variants as well.
Not sure if the Capellans would sell it enough to other people.
It also depends on the Ghost Bears. It's like if Ghost Bear involvement becomes a thing again, then you have Virgin Industries making its trade with the Capellan Confederation for those equipment pieces. So,
no, the thing is, with the Wolf Dragoon being good friends with the Republic, there's not going to be any being nice to the clans.
Yeah,
Mackenzie Vickers doesn't like the clans. He really doesn't like them.
Yeah, Mackenzie
he also doesn't like the Combine.
Prince now. Mackenzie was basically the elected prince now.
No. Christian Mansdottir is the elected prince. Mackenzie Vickers is Lord Defender. He got his title, and he's happy with it. But the factories you do have Grumium that builds the Cyclops, the Viking, and the Crockett. So you do build some, 2 good Assault and the Cyclops. And I'm saying that they get a new factory to build the Gunslinger because, I mean, it's a mech that they were part of the development for. So makes sense that they would have a factory for it. Odin Manufacturing is another company that you have to dig through to see it. They build the Beowulf for Conguards on Orest, this place. And they also build the Ost Scout at some point, but we don't know when that starts. And I'm just going to license the Locust because you can buy a license to build the Locust from any corner store or whatever. So that's not too hard to get.
It fell off a truck or you found it in a gift box. It came in a cereal box.
You know those cereal box with a CD-ROM? It used to be a game. No, it's a license to build a locust.
Yeah.
That's how old we are.
Some of those were the best games ever. No, most of them weren't. But, but there was Chex Quest. Chex Quest is quite something, and it is available as a remaster on Steam if you want to play Chex Quest. It is available, and it has mostly positive reviews. See, there are still great games being made. Gordon, Kingsley, and Torp do lose their factories on New Oslo to Clan Wolf, so that's pretty bad. Trying to reposition them on a new planet and start producing your Hatchet mechs. So the Panther, Hatchet Man, Phoenix Hawk, and Phoenix Hawk upgrade we just saw. Quick Draw and Archer. Was there another Hatchet mech that they were supposed to have? You remember?
They had the basic Axeman, and then basically every other Hatchet mech was in the creative book is listed as Steiner salvage, where it would be either rare or just very rare. Like Berserkers, Night Stars, the other versions of the Axemans and the better Hatchetmans, anything like that. It was like Steiner dropped it off or something like that. Technically available, but
there's one thing I forgot. All right, it's good that I review those because there's things I keep forgetting. But Vindicators, they wanted to buy a license to build the Vindicator, but Ceres is Ceres, so they don't want to sell it. So you build spare parts and you make Phoenix Hawks out of them.
All right, Prof. I just sent you a message in Discord.
Let me just see here. There, we've got a Vindicator with a hatchet.
Glorious.
And a bit of a backpack like the Phoenix Hawk. We'd have to play with it, and I'm sure we could have someone to make a mini at some point. It's not very difficult to kit bash stuff.
Well, I mean, I could potentially talk to my brain decided to forget his name, Max.
I mean, it's not a super difficult thing, and if someone wants to be paid, I can throw a few bucks in somebody's way for something like that. I did it before with other models, like my fixed woodsman, like the woodsman I used for the video. I had to pay because the only woodsman model outside of original is terrible. But in terms of the list itself, I put in some of the Wolf Dragoon mechs on there. I didn't put the Shogun because the Shogun just doesn't exist. That's the one problem with it. But I put some of them, but usually as rarer. Like the Redshift is also pretty rare. The Mercury would be pretty rare because Comstar would like to keep their Mercuries more than likely. But, the basic Flea, Stinger, Wasp, Locust at 20 ton. At 25 tons, that's terrible. If you look at the list of mechs available at 25 tons for the Inner Sphere during that period, Commando and Mongoose is about all you really get for any faction altogether. It is quite dramatic how few 25-ton mechs exist and how few you can really have access to. The Eagle and the Duongong exist around that same era, or like early Civil War.
Tarantula came out in 3054?
Yep,
I think that's on the Rasalhague list, wasn't it?
Duongong is pretty much Capellan only. Eagle is Free Worlds League only. Tarantula is built by Korean Suwarno, so it is basically Free Worlds League as well.
And it turns up in the Horde of Blake list later.
That would make sense. Raptor, well, that's more or less combine only. Mongoose is always rare because it's just so good that everybody wants to buy it. And, well, the Jackrabbit, nobody builds. So there you go. Those are your 25 tonners available around that time.
Oof.
For the Inner Sphere, at least. So you are quite limited. I mean, the Brigand you could probably build. It's not in production at the time, but I mean, that thing's made out of contraband, jump jets, contraband. So, I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult to build as a...
Prof, there might be a gift on the Discord for you.
The what?
There might be a gift in your DMs.
I don't see anything for now. I am lost. I will see later. Raptor is fantastic as a mech, but it's basically only Kurita that really runs the Raptor. Because unlike a lot of the early Omni mechs, this one is only built by Lucian Armor Work. And you never see it as anywhere else. And it still has that funny face at the front there. His little funny face is always funny. There you go. 30 tons, you've got a lot more things that you can play with. Firefly, Battlehawk. That's Defiance stuff. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you could probably trade or buy for. Razorback, nobody wants to buy it. So if they start showing up, well, Rasalhague will be happy to buy it. Urban Mech, everybody has. I just added the Gurkha because someone reminded me it exists. Firestarter, always fairly rare for just about everyone to begin with. Allander falling off the back of a truck. Jenner, just because there's so many Jenners floating around. Building the Panther, so you have it there as something fairly common.
They had like 5 Panther factories they inherited from the Combine. Dear Lord.
The Raven, just to have an Ewar mech showing up. Since the Itman is just going to be more or less reserved to the Combine at that point. Wolfhound. I mean, this list here, more or less, you could use for regular FRR lists as well. The one I'm not sure here, Battle Cobra, Omni, the one Comstar builds or messed with. I'm not sure what the exact start date on those are because they captured them at during the Battle of Tukayid, but it says 63. So,
oh, really?
Probably going to be putting it on there just to have something. I'm just going to put the 3063 onwards next to it. Oh, yeah. No, it's the one down that has it. Cicadas are weird because I never know who really runs the cicada when I look around. Clint, Initiate, just because Comstar would have access to it. It's not a great mech, but it's better than nothing. At 45 tons, that's where I have a problem because there's just so many of them and so many good ones as well. The Beowulf, I'm not sold on personally, unless someone here has any reason to tell me it's great or anything.
It's an E-War plugin in Jihad if you need an ECM. That's all I've ever used it as.
Firestarter Omni, because everyone and their brother has it, and probably even, you'd be able to build a factory for it because everybody has it. Because Lucian Armor Work screwed Coventry over that. Hatchetman, Phoenix Hawk, Vindicator, and Wolf Trap. Because the Combine just dumps their Wolf Traps, so it's easy to buy them.
I wonder why.
I mean, it is a very solid 45-ton lineup. But even there, if you look up, Blackjack Omni, it's another thing that everybody more or less has access to. Centurion, Crab, I put as not super common. Hunchback, because everybody has Hunchbacks, and especially if you were close to the Combine, I think having the Hunchback wouldn't be too difficult. The Raijin, I'm not 100% sure, but it's a Comstar mech, so it makes sense to put it on the list. But I'm not sure how popular or how common it is overall. It's one mech. This is one that I've never played, and I don't have the models for it, so I can't do the full review until I have the models painted and stuff, because I don't want to work in nothing. Anybody have experience with the Raijin? I know Elkite plays it often enough.
Not personally.
Can't say.
I mean, ERPPC 3 medium pulse, SRM6 Streak 2.
Yeah,
Decently
It's a weird
fast.
mech.
looks like a Jenner on steroids, or a Inner Sphere Fire Falcon.
But it doesn't have the heat sinks to shoot everything either, with only 10 doubles. So it looks a bit odd in my
And no arms.
book.
Flar 300 XL.
Crab might be a little higher because they do have a factory.
I mean, 300 XL, at least it's got one of the most common engine out there. So at least it's easy to maintain. Crab, I could put as higher because they have a factory / bits of. So I'm going to put it as higher.
Yeah, their Odin Industries is making the Crab 30s.
Oh yeah, that's an odd one with ERPPCs and super decently fragile, which is weird for a Crab, but you know.
That's a C3 iMac.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Odin is on Orestes, isn't it? So
Yes.
Yeah, they have
They're still within
a decent factory. I'm gonna.
that would
say
also mean once the Ost Scouts, once the 9 CS comes out, that would be a common.
I got to admit, the Rasalhague's turning up with enough mechs to have a C3I formation.
The problem is you have to have very specific mechs for it to work.
Canonically, I think they only ever had 2 or 3 C3I mechs, and they all came from Comstar. And 2 of them are the Crab. They had access to the 30 and the 45.
Yep, and then there's the Ost Scout 9 CS starting in 3064.
And
You got Beowulf.
I can't remember.
Isn't the Beowulf as a C3I?
Just a C3, but
C3. I believe they also have access to a Crockett with a C3I.
That's quite possible. Yeah. Oh no, it has an active probe and a tag. So enough room if you take those out to put a C3I.
Oh yes, Crockett 04-1. So there's one with a C3I.
So
Okay,
you've got a few
Oscout,
C3I
Crockett,
things floating
Crab.
around.
Oscout, Crockett, Crab. That's their 3 C3I mechs.
Now they would be in a formation of 4 and not 6, but
Details.
You need 2 Crabs, a Crockett, and an Oscout. Not a bad formation.
If they're lucky, they might get access to some of the
Griffin CS.
we're still Comstar C3I tanks. I swear I'm still Comstar. Why are you looking at the... It's the right paint. Why are you judging me?
Well, the thing is,
Griffin's-
the
Griffin's
Comstar
6
was the one who invented the C3I. They were wanting to use it, but it's the word of Blake that exploited it. So that's always a
Okay,
an odd thing
Rasalhague,
to
you see this black box? It gives you targeting data. Don't touch it.
Can we swing our axe better with it? Yeah, sure you can.
no, that's not how it works. But it's
How
an
would
axe.
someone be closer to
It's like, how do you need more targeting data? They're literally in your face.
Well, the other people are going to be able to shoot at the mech in front of you better, so you can hit it with your axe, and the others will hit it better. So that's all good. All good.
Yeah, but the order of sequence for attacking means that the hatchet attack is going to come after all the shooting. No, okay,
True.
what you need the targeting computer for at that point is so that you can call a headshot after the mech shuts down or falls down from all the incoming fire.
The targeting computer doesn't affect the hatchet. Does
That's
it?
just it, though. It doesn't. So it still won't work. But that's what you tell them.
Now, here's the thing. Attach a pair of, there's a C3 LRM carrier. Make that the bodyguard for the Crockett. And the little lights and mediums don't realize what they're actually helping with.
It's just an Oscar. We can ignore it.
Yeah, it's like we're focused on mechs, but I can tell you right now that when it comes to conventional armor and possibly battle armor tech, that might be something that you see a bigger boom of with the remnants of the Free Rasalhague Republic as well.
Oh, they're going to be really fond of the Battle Claw.
There's a Cobra, or there's a a Cobalt with, I think, battle armor C3I.
Let me check.
I would assume, but
the XC3. Yep.
That's a little bit later than
it
what
is
I'm
3070s.
We can fix that.
Now,
that's later here. Yeah, I'd forgotten the Wolverine, so it's good that I'm reviewing it. Nothing super fancy at 55 ton. At 60 ton, you've got the Blackhawk KU, another thing that everybody's building. Dragons and Grand Dragons, because you ended up inheriting them. The Ostrock seems to be fairly popular as well. And the Quick Draw, well, there's that version with the hatchet. And I've said that they'd start building them. So you've got that. So it's not awful, not great.
Adequate.
At 65 ton, Axeman, Bombardier, your average 65 ton lineup. A lot of stuff that's pretty rare. It's just because the catapult is always supposed to be fairly rare. Same with the Jaeger mech outside of Davion space. Those are pretty rare in general.
Roughneck is that other one that built in a shed.
You take a loader mech, you change the engine for a fusion, and then you've got room to put guns on it. It works.
Yep. Oh, okay. So with the Cobalt XC3, technically it could have been introduced as early as 3063 based on the tech on it. So if you want to introduce it earlier, then you could.
We'll think about it.
But that's a later issue. If we're dealing with mechs right now, we should focus on them. I'm the guy who's going to sit here and think about the logistics of, okay, well, what would they actually be using more of? Archer they make.
Archer they make, and they have a version with a hatchet, which is hilarious.
Yes.
That's the best way to make it.
Haha, I am in minimum range. Oh no.
Oh no.
I am a genius.
Oh no.
Gets hit with an axe.
Cataphract, I mean, that's one of those things that the Davion sell to just about everyone just to piss off the Capellan Confederation. So that's normal. Excaliburs would be rare, but it would be a thing that maybe Comstar would move a few units to them. Galaglass, because it's built by Blackwells. Grasshopper is mostly rare for just about everyone. Guillotine, you'd get them by buying them off the Free Worlds League and from Comstar. So that's why I didn't put it as rarer, because there's more than one source for them.
They got like a company of those once. It was hilarious. It was the model they weren't supposed to deliver.
Shootist, another thing that would be pretty rare. Warhammer, everybody has that. Black Knight, White Knight. I have to make an actual differentiation between the Black Knight and the White Knight at some point. I have to say, like, what is the Black Knight production line, and what is the White Knight production line, and where does it separate for real? Rare Flashman. Marauder's not too terribly rare because everybody has a couple floating around. Orion, same kind of thing. Even though it's a bit rarer than Marauder, it wouldn't be terribly rare. Toyama, fairly rare, but it happens. And the War Dog, well, the War Dog's produced by Blackwell. They'd be happy to sell it to the Rasalhague Republic. Sorry. Awesome Goliath. Nothing special there. Automotos, you'd be able to get them off the Curetans because there's just so many of them to begin with. Grand Crusader and Legacy, that's when things get fancy with Comstar. Same thing with the Spartan, the Thug. Victor's not super terribly rare because it's built just about a little bit everywhere and it's easy enough to procure. Zeus you can procure from the Lyrans, and since it's not the preferred assault mech of the Fedcom, it would be easier to procure at that point because the Fedcom wouldn't be jumping on buying all of them.
They were required to buy the Zeus, so it turns up here.
Like, oh no, we have to buy Zeus. Sure.
We have to buy something from the Lyrans as well as buying something from the Combine. So they bought a bunch of Zeuses.
That'll work.
I mean, they could
Between
be
the
buying the
Zeus and the
Marauders.
Adamoto, what would you take?
A Thug.
A Thug, okay.
AKA the Hatamoto.
Zeus for glory, Hatamoto. If I don't want to actually die, I'll be way back here for moral support.
I would go with the Hatamoto just because the one I painted for Rasalhague is absolutely awesome. But I would lean more towards Zeus because the SRM variant is absolutely hilarious against battle armor.
Crockett, Gunslinger being the two big 85-tonners. The rest is just they happen to show up. Battlemaster happens to show up. Stalker happens to show up. Longbow happens to show up. Katana, they just produce so many in the Combine that you can end up buying some. The Cyclops you build, so you can say that, but you have to choose between the Cyclops and the Viking. What do you take? I'll go with the Viking.
Next time, do you want LRMs or a single Gauss rifle? Well,
there's a version with the Viking with a Gauss rifle.
Well, okay. Well,
and you're not going to get the fancy, super fancy command variant Cyclops. You're going to get the regular Cyclops. 95 ton is the worst tonnage of all time. There's like 12 mechs at 80, 95 tons or whatever. So you get the Banshee. Congratulations. You might be able to buy a Night Star or a Sagittaire off the Fedcom every once in a while, and that's about it. Zeus is decently armored and armed. That's the thing. The Zeus is just so perfectly average that I'm never sure if it's that great. I do appreciate the one with the PPC because it's a PPC, so that's always good. So
Zeus 9S? Yeah, 9S is specifically listed for Rasalhague, which is something I would give to someone if I wanted to come back alive.
Is it that suicidal? What's the 9S again? An ERPPC. It has case. You're going to be able to survive. You have case.
Large laser, LRM 15, and 2 medium lasers.
One forward,
medium
one rear
pulses.
facing. Yeah, 2 medium pulse, 1 forward, 1 rear facing.
check out the 6. Look at the 6A.
6A, that's the...
That's my favorite.
3 SRM-61.
Yeah, Tree SRM-6 is just funny. You only have a ton of ammo, so you can't have the fun times of having Inferno on, but it's still pretty nasty.
I mean, I'd still put Inferno in that 1 ton of ammo. It's like someone, it doesn't matter. Battle armor. Oh, doesn't matter if I'm fighting against battle armor. If I'm fighting a mech and I hit them with 3 SRM-6s with Inferno, they're going to stop moving soon.
And this is at the end of the era where people are still running around with single heat sinks.
And we did learn that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Inferno's got very weird yesterday, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
I like the PPC Zeus. Like the PPC Zeus is just like the regular Zeus with an AC5 is just not good because it's an AC5. Give me a PPC and we'll be happy. That's basically it.
And that's 6A.
Yep. Annihilator, Atlas, Berserker, Imp, King Crab, and Marauder 2. You want to know the worst thing about this lineup here? The most likely 100-tonner would probably be the Marauder 2 because Blackwell builds it, so you'd be able to buy it off the Dragoons.
Yep, I see that being their standard assault trooper going forward.
Which is always pleasant to see.
Yeah, it's like Marauder 2 leans really hard into the mobility and defense side of the triangle.
As a command mech, it's rather good. And I mean, if you need really something to punch holes into people, you've got your gunslingers at 85 tons.
Yep.
Look, you're an
Gunslinger's gonna
assault
do a
mech
great
with
job.
narrow low profile. You're going to be fine.
Gunslingers and Marauder 2, everything jumps. That is a jump assault unit. Just drop it from low orbit. You're fine.
Add in some Highlanders.
They do have
Marauder
Highlander.
2, a Highlander, a gunslinger,
Oh,
and a Victor.
Sagittarius.
That's a whole lot of Gauss rifles, by
The
the way.
4S is specifically listed for Rasalhague, and it has a heavy Gauss rifle.
The Sagittarius is for your bodyguard mech.
The clan front is going to be very, very sad facing these kinds of things.
Oh, because the clan busters are available, those king crabs are probably all going to be the dual Gauss versions going forward for a little while.
Oh yeah, they'll be using the clan busters.
How many Gus rifles do you want? Yes,
Just
All of them.
They work. It's the only damn thing that works.
it's got the same range and the same damage as the clan one. We'll take them.
So
Every
the
single
Steiners
one of
have
them.
Atlases for scouts, and we have the backup crew of 4 Clanbuster King Crabs as a command lance to the company. It's just 8 Gauss rifles.
Make the whole recon company all Hollanders and see if we can't broadside them.
The Hollanders with the heavy Gauss rifle, since they don't have to roll for by
Oh, wait, is
PSRs
that
anymore
available?
for shooting them.
Is that available at this
Oh
point?
god.
Which one is that? The heavy Gauss
Demolishers.
rifles.
Supported by Gauss demolishers.
Which one is that? That's the Hollander 2 said. Yeah, that would be available to them at 61. Yeah, that's a stabilized heavy Gauss rifle.
And then, of course, make sure you prepare for the battle ahead of time with your Arrow 4 artillery pieces launching fast cam fields all across the zone and force people into the kill box.
I'm going to say here right away, Rasalhague and the Wolf's Dragoon are not going to be nice when fighting the clans.
Omni Blackjack variant with the Gauss rifle.
I mean, you can stick Gauss rifles on whatever you want.
There's a Gallo glass with Gauss rifles.
Special rules for our good people in the Republic.
You did mention the Avatar, right? The 70 tons?
No, the Avatar is not available because they would be too. How do I say that? They're not being built locally enough, and everybody uses them during the 5th Succession War. So you don't have any to sell to Rasalhague for them to use.
They're going to be in everyone else's list. I see.
Like the Combine, basically, if there's a Combine mech that is not like hyper common or that they produce in massive amounts, like Independence, because Independence builds mechs for everyone, as many as they can. But like everything else is like, we build those, we give them to our own troops, and we fight the clans with them. So they can't really do much else. The FedCom, well, they're fighting the Capellans and the Free Worlds League and the Taurians and the Canopians and, you know, everybody. So
I was going to ask, were you going to give them the failure Mauler before it became the Mauler?
Oh no, just that doesn't happen. That doesn't exist for long enough to be available to anyone. Really,
that thing would be thrown in with the Avenging Angels, the first ones,
and you'd be able to convert them to the regular Mauler quick enough because it's the same chassis. So you'd just be, stripping the parts out, putting the actual Mauler parts in, and go with that.
We changed out the ejection system.
We actually
put a
fixed the
Vindicator
ejection
head on the
system.
Mauler.
The War Dog also has a Gauss rifle.
Of course it does. The Daboku, not Dobuko, the Daboku.
Dobuko.
Daboku. Or Linesman, if it's the Capellan version. Because the Capellans also built a thing off that chassis, and it didn't work. Clan material rule. The Republic can take 1 clan mech per company as a rare choice. And if you're running a battalion or building a battalion, you can take an entire lance of clan mechs as rare choices. Out of this list, which is the Clan Invasion, Omni-Mechs, and the basic 2Cs. And you will not, if you take an Omni-Mech, you can't auto-swap your equipment because you don't have the spare equipment to auto-swap them. You have, your basic equipment that is on your mech.
Yes, the Tukiad pile.
The Tukiad pile, and we've been finding these guys for long enough that we've got, a dragonfly floating around.
I mean, if anything, yeah, you should be taking the TC configs, the stuff that was specifically used at Tukiad and left there.
Actually, that might become so if the Dragoons are going to be one of the primary backers of the updated Free Rasalhague Republic, then Tukiad will probably become a secondary site for Blackwell, and they will probably bring it up to near clan spec. They may not be using it to make Omni-Mechs and Omnipods initially, but they will probably be able to repair and refit 2Cs.
No matter what, your Joe Blow, Mr. Company Commander is not going to get squeamish with a Masakari like a clan warrior would. Yes, I would like the targeting computer and the pulse lasers. Please.
I would be very happy with that. Kung's Army battle infantry rules. Always a core support choice for basic infantry, but you can replace one of your regular infantry choice in a company. Out of your lance of infantry, your 4 platoons of infantry, you can take out one of them and replace it with a combat vehicle as a support unit, because it's meant to be fighting elementals and fancy people, so you're going to have to need more firepower. Or you can replace one conventional platoon for a field gun rather than having to pay for field guns individually. So it's we know that what we're going to be fighting. Battle armors are not standard until later, when the Wolves Dragoons start working with them. And you'd have Inner Sphere standard, Raidens, and Great at Battle standard, because that's about all that you'd be able to buy, and it'd be rare choices anyways. As battle armors are still not common. They're not common for anyone at that point.
It's still wild that, like, conventional infantry platoons, you're like 25-man squad. It's like, okay, each of you is going to fight 1 elemental and expect to be an even fight.
That's scary. But that's why you've got field guns with LB-10X. A pair of LB-10X in field guns usually do a pretty good job at taking out the battle armors.
Having squad support plasma rifles, if you can get the Capellan Confederation to sell them to you, is also decent, because then it's not taking up the field gun slot.
I mean, hey, that might explain how they got their ERPPCs.
Yeah.
No, the ERPPCs are easy to get. You just say, like, Lord's Light, we would like to buy ERPPCs. Okay.
Yeah, but when the Capellans ended up with those Clan Tech ERPPCs, like, how are you getting these?
We're trading them for plasma rifles. That makes sense.
These weird people with a giant centipede on the side of their dropship sold it to me.
Oh,
Those
God,
good
that's possible.
In Clan Society,
Where'd the Burrocks go?
Clan Elementals were at the end. Arvin, the answer to that question is varied depending on which clan you are in and who you ask.
If you ask CGL contractors, yes. If you ask anybody else, no.
Them and their muscle mommy fetish.
Here's your basic list of tanks that everybody has: Scorpion, Guderian, Vedette, Manticore, Galleon, Goblin, Bulldog, Myrmidon. That's like, if I ever have to do battle tank lists, everybody has that. Bike, not as common, but it would be available. You build the axle, and you can refit them into Rommel and Patton if you've got the engines for them. They build the Demolisher, apparently, so it's on there. And they built the Puma assault vehicle for some reason. The Puma is really weird because I wasn't expecting it to show up on that list, but it is there.
I was going to ask you, I noticed on the hover tanks, would they get bandits?
I haven't put it on there, and I'm not sure. Would I put the bandit as a hover tank, or would I put it as a transport?
Good transport option for infantry?
Yes, because in a campaign, that's all I ever used the damn thing for.
Because the bandit, being an omni vehicle, it carries battle armors at all time. And you also have a 4-ton cargo bay on them.
So yes, it does work as an infantry transport option.
You transport 2 squads of battle armor with it.
Or
one on the outside, one on the inside.
Can we have the battle armor ride on the outside and the conventional infantry ride on the inside?
Yeah, well, I've done it.
Well, I mean, you can have inner sphere battle armor right on the inside and outside.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I did
Car
forget it,
surfing.
so it's good that I'm adding it.
I'm not sure the Savannah Master would be appropriate.
That's
Maybe
my
as something
son's
sold to them.
stuff. I'm gonna put it in here for processing later. Hover tanks is pretty much the standard hover tank list everybody more or less gets, because there's not that many fancy hover tanks to begin with in that era.
Oh,
like-
the Puma is because Odin was making them for Comstar.
There we go. The problem with the Savannah Master is a really limited production. I know people like to do like the full companies of Savannah Masters and stuff like that, but look at who builds them and how they build them. They wouldn't be common for anybody. Like, he has a bunch of it's 25 rated fusion engines that he got from a pile, and that's how he builds them, right? That's how SL Lewis Incorporated builds those things, through Omni 25s that they got off of a deal. Not super hard to produce, but it's not a thing that is produced in mass either. Like, it's not a Vlar 300 or a Cortec 275. It's an odd engine that nobody really would be building large amounts of, unless there's a reason to start building large amounts of them.
It's
Well, I
like
think
someone got dumped a whole bunch of these random 2-stroke engines, so they made a bunch of mopeds.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and 2 years in, they replaced that with the Edisich Omni 25 because they had to deal with Edisich motors.
There you go.
And that's still Lyran Commonwealth exclusive in terms of where it's made.
Yeah,
That's specifically on Carlisle.
So it's like the catapult. People think it's common, but it probably is not.
I was going to ask about the 3 tanks from Explorer Corps. I forget who made those. Is there 2 or 3 tanks?
Support vehicle, it's more or less the standard support vehicle list as well. Shrek PPC carrier being added, and Stormfur, the one that's misspelled, also being there, because that's built by Defiance, and they produce large amounts of them, so they do export them. But I mean, your most common support vehicles will be these guys here: Partisan, LRM, SRM carrier.
Yep.
Standard artillery setup: sniper, ballista, mobile, long
Chaparral.
gun.
So you do have the Chaparral. I was thinking of the
The
Chevrolet.
Padilla would be too rare, because the Padilla
Yeah.
requires an XL engine, and Comstar really keeps those closer to themselves. So not a common thing there.
You put the Bandit on under the transports.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it should go. Standard APC, Heavy APC, Bandit, Blizzard, Maltier, and Maxim. That's your transport crew, basically.
Honestly, between the Bandit and the Maxim, that's all I would want to use.
Yeah, but standard APC, do you know how cheap they are?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, and the great thing with the standard, let's say, standard other APC, you carry one squad of battle troops. So you need 4 of them to carry your platoon. So you have 8 machine guns on top of your regular infantry. So you bring them forward, you drop off the infantry, and you still have 4 machine guns to support you.
Okay, yeah, I'd see that now. Okay.
That's the advantage of these types of small APCs, because you're going to have a little bit of firepower with them. Not a whole lot, but, you know.
On top of that, when we're talking about the Rasalhague Republic, their military doctrine is going to be a lot of conventional infantry and conventional transport just to be able to save key resources for important battles. And they can equip entire planets with APCs and conventional weapons.
Strikers for everyone.
Yep.
I mean, the heavy other APC with an LRM, you still carry 6 tons of infantry, and you have an LRM 5 to drop smoke or whatever down the field. It can be interesting.
So get used to lots of wheeled APCs and conventional infantry squads popping out.
Yeah, I mean, that's life.
Something's got to tow all those field guns.
I mean, it makes sense since they don't have the mech forces.
I mean, I'd also go with you need someone to spot for all those field guns. And we get to the VTOLs.
Right.
VTOLs, special choices, popular and deployed as air cavalry lance rather than as like a support element you deploy. You have actual air cavalry lance. But of course, the Karnov, that almost goes in your transport group more than the VTOLs there. I'll move it.
Unless you want to use the Karnov gunships.
Which is always funny. But it's mostly the regular combat helicopters of the era, with a few of the Star League ones, which are not hard to produce at that point. The Warrior, which will be your standard combat helicopter that everybody's going to be using, and a Yellow Jacket, who's is a terrifying weapon of death as soon as it's available.
Or Gauss rifles.
Because
or
you use
Gauss
Gauss rifles.
The Nightshade's the Wolf Dragoon one, right?
Yes, if I remember right. Or is that the Nightshade combat vehicle? No, it's a Star League one.
Okay. What was it the Crestal?
The Kestrel, yeah, I think is the Wolf's Dragoon weird helicopter.
The only dedicated medevac helicopter in this era.
It carries troops and has machine guns, and
I thought there was another one that was weirder that didn't have a tail rotor.
If that Kestrel Scout had C3, it would be horrifying. Because it also has a mass mount, and there's a very specific thing you can do with that mass mount.
Mantis, I think, or there's another one that has a C3.
There are terrifying things that can happen with helicopters. The one bit I didn't write was the aerospace fighters, because that's the bit I always have a hard time with, because I don't know who owns what, where, when. So that's always a pain.
I know they make Huskarl Omni fighters because the first Dragons kind of ticked their noses up at them because it's like, no, we fly Shallones. That's what we like. And then another unit, there's like 1 or 2 big aerospace companies in Rasalhague, but they're not named, which always annoyed me.
Well,
Supposedly,
Genesec Industries is the one making this, so
And they're on Orestes. So they would have the
no. That's an Omni. That's an Omni.
That's a
not an
clan.
Omni fighter. That's a clan fighter.
Yep.
That's the one that I always have to look at when I have to messing with these things, because it's really hard to know really who as what, unfortunately.
Yeah. I would say realistically for aerospace, you're going to be looking at the Huskarl because they can make it. And I think that is, hold on.
Is there a
Or I just stick
Tatsu?
That is an Omni fighter, so that will be possibly like a big flagship moment for them to have an aerospace Omni class. When 3064
But I mean, outside
rolls
of that, I mean, you'd have some of the Draconis planes, the Shalone, obviously.
you'd have the
This
common
pad.
ones.
Oh, you got the pre-production Eisensturms. Love those things.
Oh, Eisensturms?
You got the R3 Eisensturms, so the non-Omni ones.
If I recall, the Reaver showed up on a few of the Rats tables.
The
And
Spad
light-
is fantastic because it's the Panther of the air. It's a light fighter with a PPC that is meant to be a PPC carrier. That's all it does. But it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not very good. And the Shalone's like your standard, bog standard fighter plane in Battletech. There's no more bog standard than that.
It's also in the Draconis Combine, so they would probably get some preferential treatment with trade for it. And then you just have to find an equivalent from the Lyrans to be the other traded model.
That's the weird part, is there's so few real fighters floating around.
The Sadelets,
Looking
because you
at-
get to die.
Looking at
Typhoon.
field manual updates, what I'm seeing a lot on the table is the Slayer, Huskarl, Lightnings, Shalones, Lucifer 2s, Sholagar, and
You.
Bless you.
bless you,
Thank you.
and Sadelits.
Sadelets. Sadelets might actually be like their most common light fighter because it's a 20-tonner.
The
20-tonner with a large
Sholagar, which
laser.
is one of those circular wings one. Yeah.
The Sadelets is basically a flying Savannah Master.
With a
You're
bigger
not
gun.
expected to survive.
Still better than being in a Swift.
Beats walking.
The Swift, isn't that like the... Oh, it's crashing again. I'm asking too much of Sarna. The Swift, that's the ugly looking one. Oh, yes, that's the ugly looking one.
Lightning.
Medium laser and a small laser. Hell, I mean, it's got something. It's got weapons. There's a Swift C with an ER medium and an ER small. See, it's fantastic.
The VTOL I was thinking of was the Peregrine.
Oh, yeah, that thing that nobody wants to use. Yeah.
Perfect. No one else is going to buy it.
No, it's very bad. So there's a reason you don't want to buy it. It's because
It has
it's
no tail
really
rotor.
not good. Like, it has no armor and no weapons.
Well, I
And
guess you
not
have
even
used the
that fast.
cargo machine.
Yeah,
I
just
guess
use it as a cargo.
Logistics.
Like, the Karnov's easier to acquire for logistics.
Well, I mean, using the cargo version for logistics. That's
Yeah.
It's not going to be on the battlefield. It's being used to carry shit in the
Because
background.
those machine guns and those SRM4, they're on the side.
Yeah.
So you do broadsides with those things.
Also,
It's-
its communication system is a Dalbin.
So at least it's an easy to get communication system. And the Garrett 4D targeting system, also easy to get. At least there's that.
That's a whole 8 points of armor.
Someone sneezed in my helicopter. It's going down.
I just sneezed and I took it out.
I mean, No, 8 points is enough to take a large laser, and you still have internal structure. I mean, you're gonna
If
tank
the
on your
laser
internal.
is distributed across the
It's the whole
entire
body.
surface
It's only
of-
8
Oh,
points.
it's 8 for the entire body. Sorry, I made a
It's not
mistake
8
there.
points per section.
Oops.
It's No, not per angle.
I mean,
It
you
has
can
more
replace
structure
the
than it
armor
does
with
armor.
ferrofibrous. You're gonna get an extra point.
I spent an
In
extra
terms of armor,
40%.
you don't have any.
I mean, it's not like you use the space for anything, so just stick ferro on it.
So
That's
yeah,
how
you're using
sad.
the 7-ton cargo bay and then just running ammo to
Mhm.
actually useful.
You can
It's like this-
probably do it cheaper with a commercial helicopter rather than a combat helicopter if you're wanting
Do you
to
think
do that.
Comstar would have pushed the Cobra off onto them?
No,
You-
it's because this is what you build. This is what you buy.
You already
This
have
is
the
what you
Karnov.
always buy. Is the Karnov. The Karnov is your friend. The Karnov kept New Earth Trading Company in business for 300
Did they
years.
change the art?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Oh,
They updated
God.
Yeah, they're making plastic Karnovs. Yeah.
It's not terrible. But I mean,
That's
thing
largely
is
your-
what kept New Earth in business for 300 years after the fall of the Star League, because they couldn't sell the Cobras to anyone but Comstar. So they built the Karnov, and they build a lot of Karnov, and everybody buys Karnovs. So you're fine.
And you can use it to basically launder money so you can build other things that nobody knows about.
Exactly. So when
You'll have to
someone
make a
looks at
proper
at your sheet and they're like, "You're making a lot of money," it's because we're selling a lot of Karnovs, lot of Karnovs, including one with 4 Rocket 20s and 6 Rocket 10s.
It's the Mob Run car wash. They just make Karnovs.
We will end on this statement on the Karnov and the corruption of New Earth Trading Company. I did do a video on these guys, and that was the thesis of most of that video, is that this is what they made their money off. It was the Karnov. Well, they are the ones selling the licenses to the Manticore and the Vedette. So they got a lot of stuff. They're making a lot of money off
And
of
then
those.
they start
things.
secretly making a lot of mechs for the.
There you go. They are cool people sometimes. So I thank everybody for watching. Tomorrow we've got a big video dropping with the Warhammer. That's an hour and 6 minutes, hour and 10-minute video.
Dear
I
Lord.
can't believe that you went over all 40,000 Warhammers.
40,000 of them. Every single 40,000 of the Warhammers I've gone over.
All
Took me
right,
a
Big
while.
Red.
Hey, I know if that was a Big Red video, I wouldn't want to know how long it would be.
It would be like his Warhammer 2C video, which was 4 hours.
4 hours.
I mean, if you take out the part on the Baron on Texas video, the Warhammer video is still very long as well. And he doesn't cover all the variants because he doesn't go past Geod. So I had my work cut out for me with that one.
And all the different art styles and blah.
All right. See everybody later. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
watching. And see